All right. Hello, peoples. How is everyone doing on this new year? Hello, everyone.
So excited for the new year.
Yeah, so I'm going to be watching the chat as everyone joins. So if it looks like I'm looking off to the side of the screen, that is the reason why. Because I need to watch when you people join and say hello. So we don't have too much to talk about today because we have had no new Wheel of Time content, which is
Breaks my
kind of,
heart. It's the
yeah.
worst feeling ever.
Well, I mean, we how many years did we go through that?
Yeah, but when you have 2 solid months of new content every day,
I
almost
know, I know, I
with
know.
just
Two
posting on
two
Instagram and
two
little
months.
tidbits, yeah.
What about the whole year leading up to the show? Like it was
Oh, they,
like,
they they sprinkled stuff. Like
yeah, that's
they
what.
did my fill.
No, that's what I'm saying. Like we
Yeah.
had
Oh yeah,
we
totally.
had casting announcements and set
hmm
photos and
hmm
costumes and interviews, and then all of a sudden
hmm
it's like nothing.
Nope. No, it's all gone.
We've entered the dark times,
I
the in between.
don't know. They're still releasing some casting stuff though, right?
Yeah. We got the new cast stuff.
Sporadically.
Yeah, sporadic new cast announcements and things like that, but nothing too crazy. So the only things that I can really think of to chat about, unless anyone in chat wants to shout anything out, would be some speculation for season two. So, do you have anything like that, Maureen, that you wanted to? Well, actually, you know what? Before we do that, we don't have Kitty here to
Yeah.
slap us around and if anyone just happens upon us, which I don't think that's possible at this point, but if anyone just happened upon this stream and you have no idea what's going on, we are Dragonmount. There's like banners around our heads floating around. Um, so dragonmount.com is a website, a fan website for Robert Jordan's Wheel of Time. It's been around for over 20 years
Okay.
at this point. Founded by Jason Denzel, who is a author in his own right, fantastic author. I love his. He has a series out called Mystic that's available at Tor.com. You can find it on there. It's actually it's a lot of fun. It's a young adult series ish,
First
and
book started, but it got a little darker in the middle
yeah,
and
yeah. It's meant to like grow with the audience.
yeah.
I think. Um, I enjoyed it. I haven't read the
Yes.
third book yet because I'm a terrible person, but you should check it out. Anyway, we're Dragonmount. We have YouTubes and Instagrams and Twitter and our website dragonmount.com. Everything's linked through there. Just go check it out. And I'm Tom, by the way, and that is
Maureen.
yay. Maureen does our podcast as well as many other things. What do you do, Maureen? Tell everyone what you do.
Oh, I don't know. I don't know.
I don't know what you do.
I just lurk whenever somebody has a task. I'm like the gopher. Like, here, Maureen, do this task, and I do it. So,
That's true. That is true. I've gotten you to do a bunch of stuff. Hello, Paula. How you doing? Uh, yeah, no, like every time like before we do this live, I'm like, hey, Maureen, do the posting thing, go do that because I don't
yeah.
have the permissions to post on the Instagram, so you have to do it. Hello, Erin. Another Erin. My wife is named Erin as well, so I love seeing other Erins out in the wild. How's everyone doing today? Happy New Year for everyone that's watching. And Happy New Year to you, by the way. I don't think I said it
Yeah,
yet.
thank
I
you
just
as
kind
well.
of jumped into call and was like, all right, let's get ready. I got to put all the stuff together.
Yeah, we spent our New Year's watching the Avengers, Infinity War and Endgame because it's loud and so it covers the sound of the fireworks, so it doesn't scare my dog as much.
Fair.
So that's our New Year's tradition. Like we just watch those movies back to back.
That's cool. Aaron and we had a couple of our friends over who are also being like super quarantiney. Like they
Mm.
both work from home and they don't really go out so much. So they're the only people like in the last 2 years that we've spent like a significant amount of time with. It's Matt and Elda. If they're watching, hello. They came over last night. We had food and we hung out for a while. And then since we're all old, they went home at like 10 o'clock. My cat is afraid of. My cat Luther is also afraid of fireworks. So he
Yeah.
snuggled inside of a blanket fort that we made for him on the couch next to us while we watch TV. What's up, Aaron? But yeah, so that's who we are. That's what we're doing. Happy New Year, everyone. Let's see. So season 1 ended about where the books end, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like all the events that happened in Eye of the World essentially happened in this first season. Sidhi, like the city, like the Unseelie Courts. Someone's name is Sidhi, like city. Sorry, I'm reading chats as we go through. Anyway, so everything that happened in book 1 happened in season 1 of the show, pretty much. Where do we think? Honestly, I think that the opening of season 2 is probably going to be some sort of prologue-y flashback into what had gone on. I could see it even being the literal prologue to Eye of the World.
Yeah, I don't know if they're going to reveal Ishamael that fast. I think they're going to milk that a little bit and have Rand feel like safe and comfortable. Like, oh, I killed the Dark One. I'm fine.
So you want to? So you think it'll be like a mid-season thing, like a big reveal that that Balsamon, the person that they thought they killed, is actually not dead, and it's Ishamael?
Yeah, and it's Ishamael. Yeah, I think the cold open for season 2 is going to be something doing with the Seanchan, like the court in Shandar, or something like that, like setting up the return.
Yeah. Okay.
Maybe even Tuan. That would be kind of cool.
Yeah, that'd be cool. That'd be interesting. Like a Tuan reveal right in the beginning too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I don't know. So Rand seemed to be kind of going off on his own, like toward the Aiel Waste. So honestly, I'm not sure. I'm real. And you know, you try to compare it to the books, right?
Mm-hmm.
But the fun part about it is we don't know where it's going to go. We don't know how they're going to get. Like, we know pretty much where they're going to get to eventually, right? Like, we can assume.
Yeah.
But at the same time, we don't know how they're going to get there. So it's like we're sitting on the edge of our seat waiting to see new Wheel of Time content that we don't know what's going to happen, and that's exciting again. It's excited to see that, to have that feeling again. Like, it's almost like, you know, when's the next book coming out? What's going to happen?
Right. Yes, exactly. Oh, I just had a quick thought. What if, okay, so if Rand does go to the Aiel Waste, maybe Moraine and Lan follow after him, and then Perrin goes to chase the horn, and Mat meets up along the way. So Rand's doing his Aiel thing that happens in book 4. Is that book 4? Yeah.
Yeah, that's book 4.
Shadow Rising.
Yeah, because Dragon Reborn.
Doing all that. Mm-hmm. And then while he's out there, he feels the tug of the Ta'veren. And he's like, oh shit, Mat and Perrin are in trouble. And Egwene and Nynaeve, I guess, because they're Ta'veren as well. Like, all of them are there, but he's not. So maybe then we have the scene where he does the Portal Stone. Because we do get the Portal Stone in book 2.
Yeah.
So maybe he used the one there in Ruidian.
So he could, yeah. I mean, that's entirely possible. Like, he could just go off on his own and use the Portal Stone instead of being sucked in with Loyal.
Yeah. So we could just be there and like doing the stuff with the Aiel, kind of like the Han Solo moment.
Yeah.
Did we talk about that a little bit, where he's like, "Oh no, I gotta leave.
Yeah,
like this is important, but I gotta leave."
And then he shows up right at the right when he's supposed to.
Yeah,
I can see that. I could definitely see that. I mean,
we got the start of the Aiel stuff, and then we can finish that in season 3. Like, oh, now he can go to Ruidian, and now Mat can be with him, and the party can split that way.
Yeah. They also, like, next season needs to be a lot more Perrin also, because Perrin was non-existent in this season, and for good reason, like for very good reason. Like, he suffered a huge trauma, so he's going to kind of be next to useless, like for the majority, for a while. He killed his wife by accident, like pretty brutally. Like that's not something one recovers from quickly. So
you think he'll get his wolf brother mentor in this one?
I could see Elias showing up in this one, like right at the time, like right when he needs him to. He's torn. Like right now, he is torn between the way of the leaf and violence.
Yes.
And this is the perfect time. And this wolf thing is weird for him. Like, he doesn't know what's going on. It hasn't fully manifested yet. He's only gotten it come and go and come and go. So this would be a really good time for Elias to show up and kind of walk him down that path leading to the fork that he eventually finds, which is, do I choose the hammer or the axe? I think they're going to play that whole Perrin dichotomy up a little bit faster than they did in the books. I don't think they're going to complete it in one season. Like, I don't think it's going to be complete next season, but they'll start down that path and setting up that story, I think, in season 2. And I think a good portion of season 2 is going to be Perrin, because so much of it wasn't this first one.
Yeah. I mean, if anything, it was more Nynaeve and Leon and Moraine that got really fleshed out in season 1. So yeah, I can see in season 2 them doing a lot more time with
absolutely
the other Taviran. What if Huron is replaced by Elias? What if Elias is in the Borderlands and is hired to find the horn instead of a sniffer? He's just a wolf brother.
Absolutely. That's perfect. That's literally perfect. Like, I love Huron as a character in the books, but his power is kind of weird. And he's kind of useless for the rest of the series. Like, he's a fun character to have in that first book, but it makes perfect sense that they would have, ex-warder, wolf brother, tracker, who does essentially the same thing Huron does by being able to smell the things.
Yeah.
To track across the like literally like that's perfect. Like, if they don't do that, I'm gonna be like, you should have listened to Maureen.
So maybe I need to be hired as one of the writers.
I wouldn't fight that. Aaron pointed out the Whitecloaks also would be a big probably be a big portion of Perrin's storyline. So that would be a great thing. And another good reveal, maybe not in the first episode, it could be though, would be Valda being alive still.
Yes. Oh, that's a good point. Yeah, so maybe that would be the cold open with Valda, recovering from his wounds or something like that.
Or immediately after the stab, something like that. Like I said in my in one of our, I don't remember when I said it, but it was a while. It was either last week or the week before. I could see Valda having a channeler, prisoner in the camp to heal him, just in case shit like that happens.
Yeah, I mean, it's the same way the Seanchan view channeling, it's horrible if you do it, but since you do it, you're going to use it and you're going to benefit me.
Yeah.
So yeah, I could see the Whitecloaks doing that.
Yeah. Or Valda himself. I mean, if they keep Valda as a dark friend, and Valda is very egotistical, he probably would think it's okay for me to use this power that is of the light and of the creator, because I need to stay alive so that I can spread the light further. I could even see him just doing it out of complete, blinding cult, I'm a god type, mentality, because that's how he sees himself.
Yeah, that would be really interesting if they did that. I mean, completely different from the books, but I would not be upset if that happened.
Yeah. Then we have Aaron also mentioned Fain and Matt, so yeah, I'm sure that's gonna be huge. Matt is obviously starting to succumb to the corruption of the dagger again. He didn't look well in that last scene that we saw him, and we know Fain has the dagger, so there's that is obviously going to happen. And Jeff agreed, make him a dark friend so that he can get healed. Yeah, no, I could definitely see it. I could definitely see Valda being a dark friend still, or even if he's not a dark friend, I could see him just keeping an Aes Sedai on hand, or a channeler at all that knows how to heal, just to heal him so that he can use that talent.
Yeah, in the books, Valda was not a dark friend.
No,
right? He was an asshole.
He was just an asshole. Yeah, I believe.
Yeah. Okay.
But someone can correct us on that if it wasn't. I believe it was. He wasn't a dark friend.
Yeah, I think he just because he was manipulating Morgaze, right?
Yeah,
I'm trying to remember. Okay.
And he was,
and then he became Lord Captain Commander, and then Galad.
Yeah, he also kind of, was forceful with Morgaze. Is the best way to describe that. No, he was a horrible character, and you already hate him in this show. I'd love to hate him. He's Abdul. I think it's Silas, or I can't pronounce his last name, but his first name is Abdul. He is amazing. He is a fantastic actor, and I love I love his portrayal of Valda. Like I've said it a bunch of times, but I'll keep saying it. It gives me like Dolores Umbridge vibes. Like
Yeah.
just a character. First of all, the character in and of itself, which Robert Jordan wrote, is amazing. Is like the way that Rafe, and then Rafe is writing it for and the team obviously too.
Yeah.
Wrote the interpretation for the show. Amazing writing. Obviously, it has to come from somewhere. But
Yes.
then Abdul is the one that brings it to life on screen, and whew, man,
Amazing. So good.
so good, so good. We're obviously going to meet Elayne. So Jeff.
Oh, yes.
Hello, Jeff. How's it going? Jeff brought up, we're going to be introduced to Elayne and her brothers. Might not be her brothers. Might just be brother. We don't have 100%. There's rumors of castings, but we don't have 100%. Galad and Gawain. I don't believe Rafe has confirmed that both of them will be appearing in the show, so they could combine them.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of what the plot ramifications would be if you did combine them.
I don't think it would be too big, because while Galad is I don't want to say important. While he does play a role throughout the story, he's not that important. Like, you don't need to have his position in the Whitecloaks for the Whitecloaks to do what they do, because it looks like they're already establishing this kind of dichotomy in the Whitecloaks where it's like, Bornhold was like, we don't do it, but you should probably go see an Aes Sedai to get healed. When he said that to Marion when she had the injury from the Trolloc blade. So there's already a bit of dichotomy is the best word I could use, between the way the questioners think and between the way the Whitecloak regulars think. So that is already on display. While in the books, that was not the case at all. Like, Bornhold in the books would not have said that. He wouldn't have said it. He would have been like, well, it looks like you're going to die.
You want me to mercy kill you is probably what he would have said. But one thing I was thinking of is Galad's familial ties to Rand, though. That's not super important, but it's a little bit grounding. Just like, oh, I do have family. Oh, there's somebody out there that shares my bloodline. So I do hope they keep Galad in, even just for that reason.
Yeah, I mean, they could just make him a cousin in Karhine. He doesn't have to be Elaine's half brother. He's a Damodred, so he could just be a full Damodred instead of Damodred Trakand. In Andor. There's a lot of little places that they could slip him in, or they could play up the Slayer tie with Rand, because Slayer in the books he's two people. Like, he's Rand's cousin. He's Rand's cousin and Lan's cousin.
Yeah, Lan's cousin, Rand's uncle was Tigris.
And Rand's uncle. Yeah, Rand's uncle. Sorry. So like, they could just play that up a bit more than using Galad to.
Yeah, but that was such a complex character. I could see them really not dumbing that down, but condensing it.
Yeah. Because it was a little weird. I really do think they're going to be condensing down a lot of the evil character. I don't want to say evil characters, but like the different types of evil characters. Like, Slayer is so unique in his being. Like, you never see another thing like him, and they have to explain him like very in-depthly in the books, where I just don't see them doing that on screen.
Yeah.
Like, once they start introducing Greymen and the Golem and the rest of the Forsaken, I think that's going to be enough for people. You know what I mean? What else? Sorry, I want to go check chat again. I minimized chat by accident. Sorry, people. Hello, Cara and Dominique. How's everyone doing? So Cara said they're setting up Perrin and Egwene as a thing. They may eliminate Faile and Gawain. Rafe actually did say that they are not removing Faile. Faile is she is going to be in the story, and that they have not eliminated that love interest. So that is not going to be a thing.
I mean, I like Faile and Perrin.
Me too. I like that storyline. I don't like every time someone talks about how much they hate it, I'm like, have you never been in love with somebody? Like, Like,
it did drag a little bit. It was long,
it does.
but it was still interesting.
Yeah, I mean, but like, they blame Perrin and Faile for a lot of things, but like that's why Perrin isn't the dragon, because he wouldn't make the decisions that Rand would
Right.
have made.
Yes.
Like Rand is willing to sacrifice anything and everyone
Yeah.
to save the world, where Perrin wouldn't do it. Like Perrin, if like it wasn't 100% spelled out to him, he wouldn't sacrifice Faile
Yeah.
to do anything. So, and that, honestly, that's, I would do the same thing. So, like, but I'm also not the Dragon Reborn. So, like, I don't have that weight put on me to have to make that decision. So that's who Perrin is. Perrin is that's his role that he fills in there. Matt, I think, is the same way. Like, Matt wouldn't sacrifice
Matt wouldn't
everything
sacrifice.
and everyone.
No, he wouldn't.
Maybe even himself. Hey, MJ, how's it going? And Jeff did point out, Faile does add humor to Perrin's scenes, and she does. Whether it's poking fun at Perrin himself, or, her fierceness can sometimes be funny. Like, the way that she portrays it is definitely funny. I don't want to say, like, it's funny, like, it's comedical, but it's funny, like, it's like, ha ha! Like, someone's in store for, either a world of pain or getting their ear chewed off by Faile, because she's so forceful. She's,
Yes.
like very, her presence is big.
Yeah. And just seeing more of the different cultures around the world, I think would be really interesting. So she'll come in and she'll have a completely different outlook. And I think that'll be really interesting.
Yeah, absolutely. I've said it a million times, but the one thing that I really like about the Wheel of Time is how Robert Jordan played with the different cultures of his world, and how he tied, or how I like to say, he covertly taught us about cultures in the real world through the cultures in the Wheel of Time. So like, there's a lot of religious traditional stuff for every religion: Buddhism, Islam, Catholicism, Christianity, Judaism, tied into every culture. And then just, national cultures, the way, the food that people eat, the architecture, the armor that they wear, the things that they say, the things that matter to some of the different cultures in the Wheel of Time are pulled from real world cultures. And that's one of the things I really like. So yeah, it would be really cool to start to see a little bit more. Like, we already saw a hugely different culture in just a little bit we saw of the Seanchan at the end there. So I really can't wait to hear the way they're going to do their accent. Like, I want to hear them speak.
Yeah. Oh yeah, me too. Very much so.
Yeah. Like it doesn't have to be like the way Kate Redding and Michael Kramer read it in the books. Like, it doesn't have to be like that. It's so different to the rest of the accents, to the rest of Randland, or the Westlands as they're calling it in the book. In the show. I want to see what they do. I just want to see what it is. Like, I hope it's as alien to the Westlands as it was to the rest of the cultures in the books, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that'd be interesting to see.
Yeah. So Cara doesn't think Cara Lee Alford, someone who's joined us here, they don't think that Valda's going to be coming back. I think he's coming back.
Interesting. He might be dead.
I mean, he could be dead, but that actor was amazing. Like, and
I hope not.
And we didn't see him die.
Right.
Like, he was still moving around when they ran out of that tent. And like, we haven't heard, Emin Valda was killed. Definitely think he's alive still.
Yeah.
Definitely think he's alive. Plus, like, he's like, the Whitecloaks, if they kill him off, while they could just have never mind. I'm sorry. I just misread that. I read the whole thing now. They do think Valda is coming back. I'm sorry.
Okay.
I'm sorry, Cara. Yeah. I threw you on the bus there before I read I'm trying not to like stare at my screen where the chat is too much. But no, yeah, they don't need to do too much to bring him back. Is what they just clarified. But no, they don't. But I really do think, to add some more depth to him and to show his hypocriticalness, that they're going to, I really can see either him having a terangrial of some kind that helps him heal,
Mm-hmm.
or a person that is literally like a prisoner
Mm-hmm.
that will help him, that will heal him in the camp. I could see them doing that. But they need the White Cloaks. Like, they need an evil that isn't the shadow per se, and like a real grounded in reality human evil, and
Yeah.
the blatant bigotry that the
Mm-hmm.
White Cloaks embody is that, like, that's a real human, realistic evil that exists. And I think that's a, I don't want to say it's a good thing to have, but it fleshes out the story more and gives them more depth. Just it's another thing that they have to worry about constantly, you know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and then just not everybody, Sirius Black says not the world's not split up between good people and Death Eaters. Like, there's so many bad people that
Yeah.
aren't following the Dark One.
Yeah. Thanks, buddy. Buddy said, great work for all the years at Dragonmount, and I appreciate that. I'll pass that along to Jason. I'm sure he'll appreciate that. So Jeff is saying that they think that that they might skip all the Tarvalon parts. I don't think they're going to skip the Tarvalon
I don't think
parts.
so. Actually, I was just going to bring that up because I thought somebody had said one of the new casting announcements was Elnore, which was Nynaeve's mother. And so they were saying, well, maybe it's a flashback to when Nynaeve's, birth. But in her testing for accepted, she goes to Malkier and is the queen. What if they have the children there too?
Yeah.
Because she names her daughter Elnore.
Yeah. She could name one of her children that, or they could have when she goes into the testing for accepted, she could go back to when she was a child. Like, she can save her parents or go through the gateway, like, so,
that would be an interesting one.
Because, like, she's been saying that, like, she, like one of the things is that she regrets that she couldn't save her parents. So that would be a great, test to,
and that would make more sense than her first one in the books was Agenor, fighting Agenor, which didn't happen at the Eye of the World. So there's not that to go to. So I could see that first one for what was being saving her parents.
Exactly. That's 100%. Yep. I didn't even think about that. That first one was Agenor, and they're going to have to cut it. So it's going to have to change.
Yeah, we don't have Agenor yet.
Absolutely.
No interaction between them.
Yeah. Yeah. MJ pointed out if we're going to see Valda in the Two Rivers. Whew, man, that's going to be rough. I was like, though, in all honesty, like, what's left of the Two Rivers? Like,
right. I'm not sure that they're going to make that important.
Yeah, I don't know, man. Like, if they go back
to most of Perrin's core storyline, but like, what does it add?
Yeah, I don't know, man. Like, I honestly don't know. Like it's a really great bit of story there, but do they need it? Like, do they need? I don't think they need it.
No, I would be more likely that he would go with Faile to Saldea.
Yeah, they could go
get an army there or something.
Yeah, and like, help take over a town there, or maybe they could help migrate the people that are left in the Two Rivers to Saldea or to a new town or something like that. Because there were a lot of people left, and Perrin might not have. Perrin's probably not going to have too much to do after Falme or Falm or however you want to pronounce it. So yeah, I don't know. But yeah, Perrin's storyline I feel like is the most malleable out of all of them.
Yeah.
Even Matt's only slightly less, but I think Perrin's is the most malleable there. Like, they could play with his the most for sure.
Yeah, there's so many places he could go. But also they could just focus more on his wolf brother abilities and flesh that out more.
Yeah. They could tie that more into the history of the world, like he has to go and do something or go somewhere for. Yeah. They could even tie a prophecy to him, like when the wolf brother goes to the place and does the thing. Buddy's in Germany. Hello all the way in Germany.
Wow.
That's a few hours ahead there. In the future, it's been the new year for a little bit longer for you. Let's see, what do we got? They could bundle the Valda and Perrin stuff together later on. Yeah, that's true. So back to the Tarvalon stuff with Matt and the girls, though. Yeah, I don't think they're gonna skip any of that. I think that's all gonna be there. I think Matt is going to, instead of being tied with chasing the dagger from Shinar, like he does in the books, I think that I think Matt will go to Tarvalon now. I mean, obviously he's there because he was there in the end of the thing. I think he'll go to Falm with the girls when Leandrin takes them there. I think we're going to still get that whole bit where the Egwene and Nynaeve and Elayne and possibly some other accepted or channelers that they want to introduce. Then maybe Faile or one of them. Maybe Elida will get introduced in this first part of the season. I think we'll get a good training sequence. I think the first few episodes will be a lot of teaching the viewers, while obviously they're going to be teaching Nynaeve and Egwene about the One Power and its rules within the world. I think that's what we're going. I think we're going to get a lot of that. I think that first episode will be exciting. We might get like some fighting and some chasing, and then like maybe an arrival in Tarvalon, but then I could see the maybe episodes 2 through 3 or 2, 3, and 4 being a lot of in the White Tower, the girls going to classes, the testing and all that stuff, so that we, the viewer, can learn about the One Power and the rules of it, because we've only gotten a little bit of the rules. Like I said, I can't use it on themselves. Men and women channel differently, and you could burn yourself out if you channel too much, and you can link. How does that work? You can cut people off. Can that be healed? Can that not be healed? What happens to people when they get cut? So like there's a lot of stuff that we as the readers can assume, but we don't know if they're changing. But as a person who is just watching the show has no idea about any of the things I just said, so they have to teach us, if not all, some of it early on.
Right. Yeah, and I think that will, because they need to set up the One Power, because that's our main, like that's what our whole world is based on. Yeah. Like, but many of the things that we accomplish in this series are done with the One Power, so they need to explain it. They really have to flesh it out. Yeah,
but also the differences with how the Seanchan and the cultures of the Westlands deal with the One Power will it needs to be fleshed out to show that. Like, we need to flesh out how the One Power works to show how starkly different the two cultures are. If they don't, then we won't really understand it. Like, just the simple fact of what they did with that wave. Yeah. Like, I'm pretty sure the White Tower at the moment is not capable of doing something like that.
They would never be able to, like, in tandem, do something. Like, they don't trust each other enough to be able to all be on the same page doing the same stuff, I don't think. I don't know. I mean, because especially in the books, when we get to the end and Egwene's there in the tower battling Elida and whatnot, and you have the Seanchan attack, like, they're decimated almost. Like, so many of the Aes Sedai are taken, and they think they're this big powerhouse, and it's like, no, they crumbled so easily.
Yeah, yeah. Like, they've done a good, they've done an okay job so far building up the Aes Sedai of being like a very, I don't want to say omnipotent, but like powerful force that people both trust, fear, and distrust, like in equal measures. But I think they need to do that a bit more. They need to, they need to do
put them up on that pedestal.
Yeah, so that when they knock them off the pedestal, it matters more. I remember that being when I read through the series the first time, that being like a big deal, like especially when we found out that the wise ones, because they always talked about how yes, there are some channelers in the other cultures, like sometimes the Aiel send us a girl and sometimes the Sea Folk send us a girl.
Yeah, but no Aiel, but the Sea Folk. Yeah,
no, there was an Aiel. There's a Brown who's an Aiel.
What? There's no way there's a Brown who's an Aiel.
I'm pretty sure there is. All right. We'll find it. Someone in chat right now. Look, but I'll see if I can quietly do it while we're here. But I'm 85% sure that there's an Aiel. I see it's stuck in my head now because I'm pretty sure there is one. But anyway, past that. Even if there is none, when we got to the Waste and we saw how many channelers there were.
Yes.
and when they went on the Sea Folk ship and the Sea Folk were okay with channeling in front of them, we see how many Sea Folk channelers there are, and then how good they are at it. I'm like, wow,
Yes.
they didn't need any Aes Sedai training to be this good.
Mhm.
Like, because they really build up the fact that like if you don't go to the White Tower, once you start learning
Right.
to channel, you're probably gonna die. Like
Uh-huh.
they
And
do.
they showed that with Amalisa. Like,
Yeah,
yeah, she didn't know how to do it and she
yeah.
killed herself and many others.
Even as children though, like they make it so that it's like if you channel without um training,
Mhm.
like 50% of the women who have the spark born in them die without training.
Mhm.
When and they make it sound like the only training that would suffice is training from the White Tower. Like that's the way it's built, and even maybe the first couple of books.
Yeah.
And when Robert Jordan cut that out from underneath us, it was a. I remember when I read it, it felt like a really big deal.
Yeah.
So I hope they are able to invoke that same kind of thing again.
Mhm.
One person said there were no Aiel Aes Sedai, so that's one in your favor. Let's see.
And they're three sea folk sisters, and they're all the librarians, and they're very low power, and so
Yeah.
that's why they wrote it off like, oh, the
The
sea
channeling
folk.
must not be strong with the sea
Yeah,
folk.
yeah, exactly.
Because
Mhm.
there's not that many, and when they do come in, they're
Yeah,
weak. Yeah.
exactly.
Um. What was I going to say? Oh, so back to the Seanchan and the Aes Sedai and the differences in the One Power.
Oh yeah.
But
Mhm.
I, man, I just the way they treat the Seanchan, like the way the Seanchan treat the Damain or the the
Yeah.
channelers in it's just they haven't. I just really don't think they've done a good job at showing the way the common people view the Aes Sedai,
Mhm.
so that it's such a impactful feeling when you see the Marath Damain, as they call them, like the unleashed ones, the unchained ones.
Mhm.
Uh, when they finally start to collar them, and then like the common people are like, they're treating that Aes Sedai like a dog. Like what's happening?
Right.
Like it's like
Mhm.
I remember having this just the feeling of seeing that being like, I just don't think they've done that well enough for someone who hasn't read the books in the show yet.
Yeah, yeah, they need to build it up more.
Yeah,
I agree with that.
yeah, I mean, because we don't need to see the Seanchan right off. Like it was a big thing. They don't. There's rumors of the Seanchan throughout the first half of the book, but we don't go and see them directly and how
Mhm.
they're treating people as in depthly as we do like midway through the second book and then like toward the end. Like they're still
Mhm.
kind of like, what are the Seanchan? We hear these
Yeah,
people coming to ships. They have weird armor. They look like
right.
insects.
Yeah, I think the prologue was Bail Doman being boarded by Aegianan.
Yeah, yeah. But even then, like we don't really get a lot. Like we don't see the common people being like, oh my god, they have an Aes Sedai on a leash.
Yeah.
Um, I am kind of sad that we haven't gotten Biodome, and I hope
Mm.
I hope we have him in the
Mhm.
next season. I get a lot of people would probably be annoyed at hearing that accent
Uh-huh.
as often as we hear him speak, but it's fun.
Hmm.
I hope there's like a nod to it at least. If they don't actually have it as like a full character, I hope there's at least like a nod to that,
Hmm.
in the next season. So someone mentioned Cad Swain. So I don't know if you've seen this, Maureen, but did you see everyone calling for that one actress?
Yes, I did.
I can't remember her name.
I can't remember her name either.
Crap. Someone post her name. She's fantastic. She's in The Expanse. She's in like a really bad horror movie at one point. I think it's The Exorcism of Emily Rose or something like that.
Oh,
She
okay.
plays like a lawyer or something, or a doctor. Like the rumors are that they've casted her. They've cast her as Cad Swain. So like that's fantastic.
Hmm.
She's obviously not going to be like, I don't think she's going to be in season 2 because if they only just now cast her, they've already been filming season 2. They're not going to rewrite. Oh wow. Okay, yeah. Her name is not easy for me to pronounce. Someone in our chat named Village Mattress apparently posted her name now. So if you want to see what it is, you can go check out the chat on YouTube. She is fantastic though. I love her in The Expanse. I love her in everything. She had her like just her. She's so unique. Like her screen presence, like her voice, the way she delivers lines. I haven't like in everything that I've seen of her. Like I haven't seen too much of a like she's not a character actor. Like I don't think she has a lot of range, but she herself is such a character that she like what she brings to the screen is more than enough. She doesn't need to. She can just talk like as herself, and it's perfectly fine. Because she's so like like I said, like the best thing I could say is unique. Like her voice and her delivery, the way she speaks is just. Like, I could see her as Cat Swain easily.
Yeah. No, that sounds good.
She's Iranian. She's of Iranian descent, is what Village also said. Yeah. So Cat Swain's going to be great. How are they going to play her up? I think that they've already have. I think that woman, that Aes Sedai that Maureen was talking about, teaching her, I think that's Cat Swain.
You think they're going to change that to be Cat Swain instead of Elaida?
Yeah, I think that's going to be Cat Swain. Yeah.
I was thinking they were going to change it to be Leandrin.
It could be. Like that familiarity that they showed with Leandrin and Moiraine, it's there. This is what I really love about the writing so far, is that they've set up the like all of these little bits to be like it could be any of these things. Like all of them make sense. So it's great to see. Like everyone can have their own theories again. Like we can theorize about the Wheel of Time again, and it's and there are multiple valid theories. Like none of them are obvious or anything, and it's really great to see that again.
I missed it. That was just so fun. I had that What If blog on Dragonmount back in the day. And we just hypothesized what was going to happen in the last 3 books. It was amazing.
And for those who don't know, or if we have any ex-Theorylanders here, Matt Hatch, the innkeeper over at the Dusty Wheel, he used to run a website called Theoryland, which was literally, that's what it was. It was just off, some of them crazy off the wall, and a lot of them pretty accurate theories on the Wheel of Time, and that was really fun to participate in. So it'd be cool. It's cool to be able to do it again. Like I don't want to say the track at Jordan at the Wheel of at Jordan Con is a fantasy literature convention. We have a Wheel of Time track, but we also have many tracks. I say we because I also work at Jordan Con. But the Wheel of Time track has, I don't want to say been stagnant, because it hasn't. There's been a lot of fun things. Even like before they mentioned the show, we even used to have, if they made a show, fan casting. And if they made a show, what would they do? Like we used to talk about that too. But we get to theorize again. After the last book came out, we weren't able to theorize as much. For those who haven't read the series, there still are a lot of open endings, even after the last book ends. There are a lot of open stories that Robert Jordan didn't wrap up on purpose. Like he did it because he wanted people to still be able to talk about it and live in the world, and it's still to be a living world with possibility. Like he did it on purpose. Most of the big stuff got wrapped up, but there were a couple little things that were like, I wonder what happened to that. I wonder what happened to this person and that person. So, I hope that they so we were able to do that, but it's great to be able to do it again now with the show. Like the Wheel of Time track, I'm sure Jordan Con will start to be encompassing more of the show again. It'll be more show than book, but I'm sure there's still going to be book stuff there as well.
Yeah, and it's because they're not going scene by scene in the books. I mean, it would have been cool, I'll admit, to see scene by scene, like, oh my gosh, everything we love. But it would have been boring. Like after season 1, we're been like, oh, okay, well, I know what happens in season 2. Yeah. Oh, well, I know what happens in season 3.
Like,
and this just gives us more opportunities. Yeah.
A good example of that for me was, so I grew up liking Disney movies and the Disney stuff, and when they started making these live action stuff, I was really excited about it. Like I like the changes that they made to it, because it's, again, the same reasons why I'm talking about why I like the changes to the Wheel of Time. It was fun to see new stuff, and it's fun to see how they're doing things differently. The Lion King, though, the Lion King was almost a shot for shot, the exact same. Even most of the dialogue was directly taken from the cartoon. Like it was almost the exact same thing. And honestly, it's my least favorite of the live action versions. They cut out a lot of the songs and scenes
Aw.
that I liked. Like a lot of the interactions with the hyenas they cut out, and some of the stuff with Rafiki that I liked. But it was boring. Like it was a boring. It was very boring because I was just like, oh, and this is gonna happen. Oh, okay, and then it was just like this. It was exactly the same. So I went into it excited. And when I left, I was like, you know what? That was actually kind of boring. So I'm glad that they're changing that for that, because I would hate to sit down being excited about it, even if like it being a shot for shot retelling, and then be like, wow, that was actually kind of boring. Like, because then forget about how people compare it to the books now. It would really be compared to the books then if they tried to do an exact retelling of it. So, don't even ask about the pipes. Yeah, I'm guessing you mean the lighting of how Rand lit his pipe.
Yeah. Well, even the Dark One alluded to that. Rand can make the world anything he wants.
Exactly. So he gave himself.
So I don't know if that's something we can trust, but
I mean, I think Rand deserves a little bit of his own little powers after all that.
Yeah, I don't know. The way I thought of it, that whole scene, so spoilers for A Memory of Light, where Rand goes and battles the Dark One, and he kind of goes out of time, like into the Dark One. And to me, it's kind of like Neo in the Matrix. Like once he's in the Matrix, he's able to see the codes. And so once he's like out there on his own, he's able to see that, oh, that wall is just numbers. And so once Rand's out of the Dark One, he can see, oh, this world's just weaves, and I can change that weave. So it always made sense in my brain, just because I made that Matrix connection.
Okay, that's true. I could see that. Speaking of the Matrix, the new movie was fantastic.
I liked it. Really good.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it. I just love Keanu Reeves too. So
yeah.
Jeff said for him it's them it's tough to watch someone who hasn't read the books. My wife has been watching without reading the books, and she is lost to the things that are happening without the build up. So I would say to your wife, watch and find out. It's the same kind of feeling. Like it's not that it was the build up so much as as like we had those same feeling, like, what's going on? I don't understand this. And that was when we first read them, because the story wasn't fleshed out yet. But what drives you to watch later is that it's not that the things that are happening don't make sense, is that you don't understand them yet. But that is by design. Like, it's by design that you don't understand them yet. So I would say to your wife, Jeff, watch and find out. Yeah. Because discovering it is the fun part.
Mm-hmm. Or even just talking about it like this afterwards, like, okay, well, I didn't understand that scene. What happened? And then you have this back and forth dialogue, expanding on it, and it's awesome. Because my husband is also not a book reader, but he's enjoying the show very much.
Okay. My Erin also works for JordanCon, and one of the reasons we started dating was because of a shared love of the Wheel of Time. So she's read all the books a million times, like I have. So, but I have a few friends that have also not watched it that I've talked to, but I try not to. What I find myself doing is trying not to spoil things for them. That would, like, I could explain this to you. Like, I've said this in different ways often, but usually is the same kind of idea. I could explain that to you, but it may, like, it would definitely spoil things for the book, but it may spoil things for the show. Like, it's of my opinion that all of the things that are kind of left up in the air right now, that a viewer who hasn't read the books don't understand, it's by design that they don't understand those things yet. Mm-hmm. And that, in the following seasons, they'll do that. So I've been trying not to give these explanations on what everything is to my friends that haven't watched the series yet. Mm-hmm. Specifically, as a group of people that I game with, a friend of mine, his name's Kyle, and his girlfriend's name is Jamie, who I affectionately call Five Guys, because when they met, she brought him Five Guys. So I didn't know her name at first, and we just referred to her as Five Guys, but now it's kind of stuck with me. Five Guys, for people that don't know, if you're not in the States, is a food chain. It's Five Guys Burgers and Fries. So but I try not to explain to them, like, too much. Like, I gave them a little bit of setup of the Age of Legends, mm-hmm. On how far, like how advanced the technology was and how advanced society was then to where it is now. Because when they showed that the scene of like the cars flying around, they were like, "Is this a science fiction? Is this like a future Earth thing?" And I'm like, I didn't confirm that, and I won't now, just in case I don't want to spoil anything. But because when there were revelations later, that was fun. So, but I did explain that yes, they were super technologically advanced. It was almost like the Wheel of Time is actually a post-apocalyptic science fiction fantasy. Like when you think about it, that's what it is.
No, that's true.
Yeah. And I think they've done a good job at that in the show, showing all of like the ruins of like very modern looking houses and the skyscrapers. Yeah. And then when they showed literal flying conveyances, like whether they were planes or flying cars, I don't know. Like in the Age of Legends, they speak about planes and cars, vehicles that they drive around in. So, I don't know how they're doing in the show, but they were flying vehicles of some kind. So like, and everything was stone, but also metal and glass. So like, there was a lot of technology there, and they didn't show any technology like in the room with them that when they were speaking. But I know in the books they talk about communicators and like visual, like video communicators and stuff like that. So it'd be interesting to see little tidbits of that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be really cool.
Yeah. I picture like if anyone has played Horizon Zero Dawn, where it's like, it's a fantastic game. It's set post-apocalyptic Earth, so like everyone is very, I don't know, Neolithic, like they're tribal, fantasy-esque technology. They have bows and arrows and stuff. But, every now and then someone will pick up a bow and they'll have like, it'll be tied together with like wire, like electrical wire.
Oh, huh?
Like, so, and like they'll find a ruin and they'll be like, an electrical device that still works. And it'll be like, what the heck is it? And it looked like, it would be cool to see stuff like that. Like, they go into a cave and there's like, an ATM or whatever, not an ATM, but something like that. Like some sort of obviously electronic or technologically advanced device just, embedded in a rock somewhere or something crazy like that. Let's see. I'm just going through chat again. They ruined Shannara by showing the old world scenes. Yeah, I do agree. I don't think they ruined Shannara by... So the Sword of Shannara on MTV, they did a lot of like stuff like I just mentioned, actually. Like showing a lot of the old world stuff. But it was a lot more. Like it was like there was I didn't watch the entirety of that show because it was bad. But it wasn't... That's not what just made it bad. It was also bad acting. The budget was terrible. The production was bad, but they actually like fall into a cave at one point, and it's like a gymnasium, like fully preserved gymnasium, like mid homecoming dance, decorations everywhere, chairs, like a stage and stuff. So yeah, I don't want that in depth. Just like little things in the background that if you're paying attention, you may notice stuff. Yeah. I don't want like a full crazy thing. Especially because the world in the Wheel of Time went through a lot more turmoil and destruction than the world in Shannara did, canonically in the book, at least. MJ said, so I just read one of the Forsaken wishing that they had just one shock lance. Yeah, so that's a piece of technology. I think that's Samael. Because he's like the military general, like he's the more militaristic one. So I believe it was him saying, if I just had one shock lance, I could. I can't really think of anything else as a setup for season 2.
Yeah, Moraine with her.
Oh yeah, Moraine, obviously. Wow. Sorry, I haven't had enough coffee, I guess, this morning. Yeah, Moraine. So what do you think?
So in one of those interviews, Rafe talked about how he had to beef up her plotline because she's in like 1 or 2 chapters in The Great Hunt.
Yeah.
The part where she's at Adelius and Vandine's house, and then the part at the end where Raine's like, "Where's Moraine?" And she's like, "Oh, I'm here." So that's the 2 instances we see Moraine in the whole entire book.
Yep.
So he's got to beef her out. So I think she's just gonna study with Adelius and Vandine, and figure out how to break the block because it's been tied off, and we know if you know how to unravel it. Actually, and I have seen some fan theories that Seanchan is going to unravel it because she's good at unweaving with the power.
Yeah, that is something that she was good at doing.
But she can't go back to Tarvalon yet, so
yeah,
probably not.
Yeah, I could definitely see that. Like we won't see much Maureen. It'll be her first looking for those two Aes Sedai, and then her getting there and starting research, and then we'll cut back to her at some point later when she finally figures it out.
Yeah.
And it'll be like a reveal that she can, oh, I broke the shield, I can channel it. I hope so. Not everyone catches this on the way through, but did you catch Varen lying in the Great Hunt?
No.
Okay. So Varen lies right in the beginning of the Great Hunt in the book. Mm-hmm. She tells Matt and Rand that Moiraine sent her to help them. Mm-hmm. Now, they don't talk about that again until the beginning of The Dragon Reborn. Like, that's not mentioned again. And it's brought back up when either Perrin or Matt or Faile or somebody, not Faile, or Elayne or Nynaeve or someone mentions that Varen was with the group while they were traveling. Mm-hmm. And Moiraine is then surprised that Varen was there. Like, she expresses a surprise that Varen had joined up with them and traveled with them. Whereas if Moiraine had sent her, she would have known. So I hope they give us little tidbits like that again. Like, when that book first came out, it was years apart, so I could see very easily why people didn't pick that up. Uh-huh. But I hope we still get little tidbits if they do the whole, Varen storyline. Mm-hmm. And her storyline is so great. I love her character.
Yeah. It's so satisfying.
Yeah. I hope they do that again. Let's see what we got going on. Moiraine will break through the shield at some big moment, probably. Could be to fight Lanfear. That makes a lot of sense. Susan Penderson, have you read the Malazan Book of the Fallen? Have you haven't read it, Maureen? I'll be honest. So, my friend John, he's actually an aspiring writer in his own right. He's starting to write now. He loves those books, Malazan, Book of the Fallen. And when he explains them to me, they sound like a lot of fun. And I've tried to read that first book so many times. And I don't know if I'm not saying the book is bad, because it's not. A lot of people love that series. And legitimately, like, the characters, when they've been explained to me and I've read about them, the characters sound really cool. And the storyline sounds cool. But I've tried to read that first book a million times. Like, I get, like, a few hundred pages in sometimes only to, like, the third or fourth chapter. And I put the book down, I forget about it, or I forget what I read. I don't know if it's my ADHD, like, acting up with maybe that series specifically, and I just need to, like, power through. But I've picked up that first book, umpteen times, because John is one of my really good friends, and I would love to share this love that he has for Malazan with him, but I can't get into that first book. Steven Erikson is the author, I believe. Malazan, Book of the Fallen. A lot of people love that series a lot. And in fact, there was this old website where they would do like fantasy characters fighting each other, and the main character, or not one of the main, one of the more powerful characters in that series fought Rand. Rand ended up winning in that. They called them like something voodoo cage match or something like that, and it would just be like this month-long. They did it during like the
March Madness.
Yeah, March Madness for the basketball, and they would do that, and it was a lot of fun. I'm curious to see how they get Egwene to Falman to the Seanchan. Honestly, I think it's going to be the same way.
I think it's going to be a portal stone.
Yeah. Oh, it could be a portal stone, yeah. I mean,
you
don't think it's going to be the ways?
No. Why would they want to waste all that money doing a set again for the ways?
I mean, they don't have to get
when they can just be like, oh, let's touch this and channel into it, and then we're there.
Yeah, I guess.
Saves time and money. Like they've already shown the ways. Until they have something more substantial or more of a reason for us to be in there, I don't think they need to do it.
That's true. I mean, I was thinking that they could redeem the ways a bit if they did them again soon, like, make them
Maybe
cooler.
later.
Yeah, I mean,
I
maybe
don't
when
think
the
that's
budget
the
gets bigger. Yeah, Portal Stones would, I guess, be easier because it doesn't have to be such an alien world.
Mhm.
It's
Well,
our world.
and if they have the girls using a portal stone intentionally to get to Falme, and then Rand accidentally does it, we'll be able to infer some
The,
more. I think.
yeah, yeah. They could use it. They could definitely use it for a lot of backstory development going through the Portal Stones. Like if they do the what if thing also.
Yeah, I don't think they'll do that either.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, they could. They absolutely could not because it does add a lot of confusion.
Yeah.
But
So neat, but yeah.
Robert Jordan wrote that first Portal Stone is just a literary device to waste time. Like they were like, oh man, if Rand was able
Right.
to get to Falm as quickly as everybody else, it'll be bad.
Mhm.
Like the story won't make sense. So I need to delay him for 2 months. How do I do
Mhm.
that? Oh, the Portal Stone. When he goes into it, it accidentally takes 2 months because time moves differently. So like I can see them doing that again because it's a real easy just from a writing perspective, like a writer's perspective. It's like
Yeah.
the story mechanic to delay the hero. Like
Yeah.
they use this thing that they think is a really good means of transportation, but time doesn't flow the same there. So
Mhm.
and a trip that would normally have only taken a few weeks if he would have walked ended up taking months because he tried to take a shortcut. So
Yeah.
could definitely see them still doing that. So MJ said Erickson throws a lot of things at the reader in book one and then explains it later. So that could be
Yeah.
what really messes with my ADHD is like I can't pay attention to it because I don't understand what's going on. Maybe I don't know, but I didn't have that issue with the Wheel of Time when I first read it. Like I remember just drinking that first book in.
Yeah.
Though I did have like my best friend, his older brother was the one that was kind of like pushing the Wheel of Time on us. Then he was our pusher. But at the same time, we were also playing the Wheel of Time tabletop game, so that could have been the push for me to read it at that time. I also had a lot more free time then. So.
Yeah.
When I was in middle school.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I remembered. Kitty will be proud of me. So for anyone who's joined us recently, we are Dragonmount. For anyone who doesn't know, I'm Tom. That is Maureen above me. We do. Maureen does a podcast. I do YouTube goodies occasionally. Another person that usually joins us is Kitty Rollo. She does YouTube stuff. She's also on TikTok. She is a professional chef and she works at a restaurant. So the past couple of weeks have been a little busy for her over in California. It's a high-end restaurant, so there's a lot of like big parties and stuff like that. And she's been super duper busy. She works late, so she usually gets home at like 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning. So we're letting her sleep the last couple weeks with Christmas and New Year's back to back. I'm sure she's super tired. She already has to wake up. Like this is early for her to begin with, 11 p.m. Like that's her like 4 o'clock in the morning for
Yes.
Normal people people that have a normal sleep schedule.
Mm-hmm.
Go check us out, check her stuff out. If you go to just dragonmount.com and play around through the links there, you'll find us, but there's links in everywhere that you're watching, whether it's Facebook or Instagram, Twitter, YouTube's, all the links are there. If we don't have any more pressing questions or things that chat would like us to talk about, we'll give it a minute to catch up because we're delayed. So like, they're not going to hear that for like a minute. We'll start saying goodbye to you. It's a little shorter than we usually do. We usually go for like another 45 minutes or so. But, it's it's New Year's Day. I'm sure if you're not hungover, everyone has stuff to do. And it was mostly today just to get to connect with everybody again and say hello and Happy New Year, Happy Holidays. I hope everyone's safe, with the crazy new variant that's out. Get vaccinated if you can. Be safe. Not seeing any questions come in yet. Maureen, you have any final thoughts?
No, just super excited for season 2, and I think they just handled season 1 so well. There are a couple things I was disappointed in, but nothing that deterred my enthusiasm. So I am just like the biggest cheerleader for this show, and I'm so happy And I'm so excited for season 2.
Me too. Absolutely. With that, I do want to say, like, if anyone over at Amazon ends up watching this, just thank you. Like, it was fantastic. Like, it was great to just, like, there were times where, forget about, like the stuff that was happening on the screen. Just hearing a character go, Perrin, like, I would be like, they said Perrin's name. Like, it would just, and it was on television. Like, that I felt that every now and then. It was crazy.
Yeah.
Someone asked, did we find out what the per episode budget would be for season 2? I don't think they've released that yet. I hope it's more. What do you think of the cold opening, episode 8?
I liked it. The Age of Legends.
Yeah, I loved it. I love the Age of Legends. I love the way that they depicted the dialect.
Like, so awesome.
Yeah, it was musical. Like it. Yeah, you guys said that plenty of times on the podcast too. I'm not sure if I already had that thought, or it was you guys were so convincing in it that that I like picked up on it afterwards. But that is a perfect description. The way that they were speaking it sounded almost musical. Like, it was so smooth. I wonder how they practiced that. I would love to see them.
They had a dialect coach. I know there's somebody in the credits for the dialect coach.
Okay. I wonder if Alan helped out with that. For those who don't know,
maybe.
Alan Romanchik was like one of Robert Jordan's right hand. So it was Maria, obviously Harriet, his wife, who is the editor of the books. She is a big time editor. If you go and look up Harriet McDougall, she's been in the editing world for a really long time. She actually discovered Robert Jordan. But so Harriet was a part of the team who wrote the books, other than Robert Jordan himself. And then it was Maria Simmons and Alan Romanchik. And Alan helped with a lot of the battle stuff, the military stuff, but he also helped literally flesh out the entirety of the Old Tongue for Robert Jordan. So oft times, I mean, I do this all the time. Like, if I have a question about the Old Tongue, I text Alan. And ask, hey, how would you say this in the Old Tongue? Like, I've done it for Jordan Con, I've done it for this show, I've done it for lots of stuff. Kitty has a whole series where she's been chatting with Alan on TikTok, so you should go check that out. But I wonder if I'm sure they tapped him a bit for the show, but I wonder what he thinks of how it sounds.
It sounded so cool. I love it.
So,
but I also like how civil the dialogue is. Like, Lutheran is literally going to go to the Dark One and try to seal him up. And then Latra was like, Latra was like, don't do that. I'm going to anyway. Okay, have a nice day. And then they like leave. Like, we don't have a lot of the details of this, but I know the Big White Book, everybody hates that Robert Jordan's World of Wheel of Time book.
The Big White Book of Lies.
And just how more
antagonistic.
Aggressive.
Yeah,
this was like they fought. I mean, and then she got the Hall involved, and then it was a split between the men and the women. It was not this like, oh, okay, well, go and do your thing. We're gonna clean up the pieces afterwards. So, and that was an interesting choice. Just like she didn't have as big as a concern as like you might potentially blow up the world. But yeah, sure, go ahead.
Yeah. Honestly, the way that conversation progressed was one of the changes that I would say I don't like. Not that I don't understand. I just don't like. I don't like that she was just like, she knew that they were going to corrupt Satan, like, or Sidene, like she knew. How did she know that? Like
right.
The only way that I could see it is if they actually are playing up the whole, this is actually another turning. And they kind of set that up a little bit by calling Lutheran the Dragon Reborn and not just the dragon.
Yeah, that's possible.
So like maybe she has this idea because like this is something that happens, like the dragon, like every 3,000 years is a cycle of the Dark One, becoming strong enough to touch the world again because the seal breaks and they have to go back and reseal it again. So maybe that's where that comfort for her comes from. Like she knows that they're going to succeed because it happens every 3,000 years. So she's like, all right, go do whatever you're going to do. We'll deal with the mess that you make when you make it.
Right. Yeah. Maybe. I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't like that. I don't like that. Like I said, like that's the thing. Like this is the part that I don't like. Like I liked the aggressiveness between the two factions there, because it really set up for the way the Aes Sedai treat male channelers for the rest of the time.
Yeah.
So
Mm-hmm.
yeah. Season 2 opening, Lews Therin creates Dragonmount. That would be pretty cool. But I think that would reveal, like Maureen said earlier, that would reveal Baalzamon as Ishmael. So I hope they don't reveal that right away. I hope that's another like build up type of thing. Like maybe by episode 2 or 3, if we only have another 8 episode season, like 2 or 3. Now Alan asked, what about Kalendor? It's going to be, there'll be another prophecy that they could just discover this new prophecy. Doesn't have to be like they talked about the prophecies of the dragon a lot in the first book. They've barely talked about them in this book. So maybe.
Well, and Moiraine's distrustful of them.
Yeah,
she's like, these prophecies are 3,000 years old. How do we know they're true?
Yeah, and they've been translated again and again and again and again and again. So I like that they've been hinting at that, because that's literally that's something that we deal with in the real world, like with other works of scripture that have been translated again and again and again and again, and how we're distrustful of them. So to carry that over into the show, it makes more sense. Like someone who is as intelligent as Moiraine and Siuan wouldn't be super trustful of these prophecies as they've been handed down for 3,000 years. They're 3,000-year-old prophecies that have been translated multiple times. So I think we'll hear it. I just think that the Aes Sedai put less stock in the prophecies in the show than they did in the books. So I think we'll hear the prophecy. Maybe it'll be a new prophecy. Maybe someone will give that prophecy now. Or we'll hear it and it'll be like, well, here's another one of those prophecies that, maybe it's true or maybe it's not. So
yeah,
I'm sure that Kalendor will be there. It may not.
Really?
I mean, and they did already explain what Sangreal and Angreal are. So, where like Kalendor is really the first Sangreal that we ever see. Yeah. That'll be interesting if they do that. All right. I think that it's time to wrap up, though.
All right.
What do you think? Nothing else? Nothing on your
mind? I think I'm good.
All right. Well, it was great hanging out with everyone again. Again, we've been Dragonmount, and we will still be Dragonmount after the show. Make sure to go check out all our other videos if you enjoyed this. Give us a like, a share, click on that bell if you're on YouTube, to show your friends and family. And we'll see you next week.
Yeah, sounds good.
See ya. Bye, everybody.